In this video, I'll show you how to install your Shop Nation dust collection chute on your non-sliding Dewalt miter saws model DW715 and 716, as well as DWS715 and 716. Note that this product only works with models listed on my website, which will be updated as new models are added. If your miter saw model is different, please stop here and go verify that you have the correct product for the saw. Anytime you make any changes to a power tool, you've got to be really careful and mindful about what you're doing. In this case, we'll be improving dust collection, but we do have to remove the rear blade guards in doing so. For this installation, you'll only need a couple of simple hand tools: a T25 Torx driver and a T30 Torx driver if you have the DW model, as well as a standard Phillips screwdriver. It goes without saying, the first thing you should do is unplug your saw and make sure it stays that way. Also, you can perform the installation with the blade installed, or you can certainly remove it to make things a bit easier if you want. In order to install this product, we have to remove the rear blade guard here and the stock dust chute, which is located right here. For the DW line of saws, we'll need to remove these two T30 screws to release the rear guard. There's one located on the bottom towards the back and another on the motor side of the blade. For the newer DWS saws, there are two T25 screws located here, both on the motor side of the blade. In either case, you're going to want to hold on to these screws. Don't lose them because we're going to use them later. Once that rear guard is off, we'll need to then slide the stock dust funnel out of the way. This is held in place by a single T25 screw here towards the top. In your kit, you should receive a main chute body and universal hub adapter assembled like this, which will look more like this if you got a DWS kit. You'll also get a bag containing the flexible flaps and flap mounting screws, a short section of expanding vacuum hose and a hose transition piece, and finally, depending on the options you selected, one or more hose adapters. Keep in mind that if your parts look slightly different than what's shown in this video, that's okay. The same steps apply for installation. Step 1 is to separate the universal hub adapter from the chute body itself by removing the two thumb screws, one on each side. And then we're going to install the hub mount in the location of the old rear blade guard. This is where you're going to reuse the original screws we took off earlier. For the DW line of saws, you'll use the rear center hole and the lower of the two holes along the side. Don't mind the extra hole here. Snug them up evenly, making sure not to over tighten. For the DWS saws, you're going to use both of these side holes. Now we're going to install the flexible flap. Depending on which model kit you have, the flap size may vary, but the installation steps are exactly the same. Insert one end of the flap and then work your way around, making sure the flap is fully seated into the groove. Next, take the small Phillips screws that came in the flap bag and, starting at one end, secure the screws through the flap and into the chute body coming from the outside. Carefully work your way around the chute, securing the other screws, making sure to fully seat the flap into the slot as you go. You'll notice that the screws will protrude into the chute opening like this. Try to remember this if you ever try to reach your hand in there. Now the next step is to get the flexible hose attached to the chute body itself. First, we'll attach the hose transition piece to the hose itself. Carefully get the hose started on the threaded end and continue threading until it gets to about here. Now we can do the same on the opposite end of the hose and thread it onto the chute body. Alright, we'll take this back to the miter saw. Alright, we'll take this assembly and first guide the hose end back through the rear opening, and then carefully get the chute body inserted into the hub mount. Finally, add the two thumb screws, one on each side, to secure it in place. At this point, try moving the saw around to verify there isn't anything hitting or hanging up. If you're seeing that, please stop and double check again that you have the correct product for your specific saw model, which is located back here on the motor housing. And with that, you're basically done. You can connect your hose adapters if you have them via the locking feature. Simply line them up, push them on, and then turn clockwise to secure. And then you can route your dust collection hose on whatever side you want. And as a reminder, that hose transition piece is sized to fit most extractor hoses, including the Festool D27 hose. Remember, this isn't going to capture 100% of the sawdust, but you should see a significant reduction in your shop and hopefully your lungs. Thank you so much for supporting my small business, and I sincerely hope this helps you create more projects. If you ever have any questions or suggestions, head to my website, shopnationstore.com, or shoot me an email at support@shopnationstore.com.